Yes! Welcome back, everybody, to yet another From Screen to Shelf review. This isn't your average review. Why? Because Planet Earth 3 freaking dropped in 4K. I'm guilty of this myself. Of course, a lot of people who have managed to get it for like Planet Earth 2 way back. It was one of the earlier, I think year 1, maybe year 2 titles for 4K. If people that manage to get it's heralded as demo quality. It looks great. It's awesome. I literally still put it in just for background sounds. I'm cleaning around the place. I put it up right over here, and just the chirps, the squeaks, the squeals, and everything from the animal sounds great on the sound system. And just popping in and just having like a moving portrait. It looks so good, you know. It's a little bit of a crazy story, and it's what's got me even more pumped on this. But I've been a very early adopter of 4K. I've been buying 4K since the very first wave came out. And I remember when Planet Earth 2 came out, and that bad boy was $59.99, and I paid that price, and you could religiously get it for about $19-20 on sale now. And so that's why Planet Earth 3 is even more special, dropping down on us at $29.99 to $35 is about what I've seen it going for across a couple of other retailers. So I did get mine for like $29.98. I went through like one of those big vendors on eBay and got it. If I manage to recollect what it is or go through my purchase history, I'll link it down below if that's what you're interested in. But definitely, let's dive in. Without further ado, I am bursting at the seams to talk about this. The day I heard that this was coming out, I knew that this was going to be another reference quality material disc. And boy, I was not let down in any way, shape, or form. Yes. It's so good. Planet Earth 2 was all on BD66s for the 4K discs that were included. This time we get a major upgrade onto the BD100s. So that's a massive upgrade itself, along with a Dolby True HD 7.1 audio mix as well. So what else makes this packaging really cool? I don't know. I know some people are complaining, but I find that freaking awesome. The blue casing on this, I find that just so cool. Yeah, you know, black slipcover, blue. It's really cool. And it's a great send-off for the trilogy. Hopefully we get a remaster or a re-release of Planet Earth 1 so that way we can have all of them in 4K. But this is the last one. They do mention that on one of the only behind the scenes, which is Making of Planet Earth 3. Yeah, Making of Planet Earth 3, verbatim, is the only special feature on this disc. So that's okay. That's okay. You know, I'm a special feature snob, and for me to say that's okay, it's perfectly fine. I guess while I'm talking about going into the special features, you would think that I would have a little bit more diving in, like, some of the shots. I really was curious on how they got them, and they go into some detail about most of those, but it also lets you know a lot of what they see behind the scenes, like some animals in distress that they're helping out with, which I've heard some people just in, like, forums and stuff like that say, why don't these people kind of jump in whenever that's like, well, one is the animal kingdom, you know, they aren't going to intervene in nature, but it does show you some instances of where they do help wildlife. Like this one tortoise, it's a devastatingly gorgeous shot where he's trapped in a fishing net and it's all around him. And it's devastatingly gorgeous how that looks and everything like that. How they get some of these shots, definitely check that out as if you end up getting this set. So, to dive further into the discs themselves, you have 3 Blu-rays on a BD50. Then you have 3 4Ks on BD100s. Super exciting, super exciting. And to let you know, the ones that are on the discs, the settings, those are always super cool. They tend to revisit a lot of the same things, but not always. Like, I'm pretty sure in Planet Earth 2, they didn't go over caves, but in Planet Earth 1, they definitely did as well. Or they did. This one, you have coasts, ocean, deserts, and grasslands. And that's on disc 1. On disc 2, you have freshwater, forest, and extremes. On disc 3, you have human and heroes. Yeah, it just says humans. I thought I messed up on that for a second. So let me, I'm not going to dissect each and every single one of these. That's the ones that, like, of course, they all look really, really good. Of course, they aren't perfect 100% of the way. Let me, before I get framed in a box for, you know, it's overselling this or anything like that. We all know what to expect of Planet Earth 3, but especially with the technology advancing, we kind of expect a little bit of a step up from Planet Earth 2, which we definitely get here. Now, there were some, like at the very second episode on disc 1 for Oceans, there's some really bad crush on some of those, but I have to assume, just because sometimes it'll alternate, that they had to use different camera equipment, so that's why the visuals can be a little bit lackluster with the super black depths. I am watching on an OLED, so I don't think I should really have that issue. If you didn't have that issue, let me know. Yeah, make sure I don't got to troubleshoot something over here. Oceans looked great. It's exactly what you've come to expect whenever you go into the deep sea from Planet Earth. It looks jaw-dropping, especially some of the times where they get super up close and it shows them and their little diving mechanisms going down. Looks really, really awesome. Coast, incredible. It even shows you some of, I forget what it is. It's like the skull, the Deadly Skull Sea, or it's not the sea, but like the coast, but it's like this coastal lining of like water in this desert setting right there, and it's just jaw-dropping. And then honestly, still one of my favorite episodes is on disc 3. I'm a sucker for the desert. I grew up in the desert for a little while in my life, and I think it's a super underrated terrain. A lot of people think it's very dull and hot. While those are true, the desert is very, very vibrant, very colorful. There is almost next to nothing like a desert night sky. It's one of the most beautiful, jaw-dropping experiences that you can have the pleasure of witnessing in your lifetime. If you're a viewer that's from Arizona, that's probably something that you're blessed with seeing all the time, going south to like Tombstone and stuff like that in the Sonoran Desert. So I'm a sucker for the desert. It varies in so much of the warm color contrast, right? So it just looks gorgeous. One of the best shots is there's this one like little like dead tree that they have. It might have been a little bit blooming. And then it shows like right through the tree and the desert night sky where you can see the Milky Way and the galaxy and everything like that. And all the colors, just the warm and then the cool and the neutral and everything. It just looks so good. It looks so good. I am going to watch this specific episode on this disc so many times. It looks that good. You need to get this. This is such a good package. Episode 3, like I'm not even gonna lie, I didn't watch them sequentially. I saw deserts, went right in, I had to. So let me stop gushing over that, and then let's move on to disc 2. You have freshwater. Looks really cool. Shows a lot of very bright, vibrant fish in a very clear water. Some of the shots that they get, again, amazing. It's what you'd expect from Planet Earth. Forest looks really good, man. There's just some really, really awesome times where it's just like the way the rain is dripping and you see every follicle, and then there's times with the lighting and you can see the veins on the leaves and then the way the water drips on it. It looks so good. Looks so good. And then extremes. Those were really, really cool. Actually, yet again, as much as I was gushing over the desert night sky and the Deserts and Grasslands episode on disc 1, there's in extremes they showcase wildfires. Breathtaking. Absolutely breathtaking. And while I go into detail, there are some parts of this, and I'm going to talk about it specifically on the next disc where it has like the last 2 episodes on it, when there's a specific shot in there. But in extremes, whenever the wildfires start, it really looks like something straight out of a Hollywood movie with how good it looks. It looks so good. And just for them to get the quality, to get the way it slow-mos and the way that it naturally flows, the natural frames per second that they're trying to go for, everything about it, the audio mixing, every single thing in this just absolutely hit every nail. That is yet another demo-worthy episode. Looks great. Episode 7, Human. Now we're on disc 3 because there's only 2 left, and then a behind-the-scenes featurette, the making of Planet Earth, which I already touched base on. Won't touch base on again unless something jogs my memory for it. Humans looked incredible. There's this one scene on there where there's a freaking rhino just walking down the street, and it again, it's what I wanted to touch base on with like how cinematic and Hollywood it looked at points. Like, there are just points where it takes you out of knowing that you're watching a documentary. The way that it looks, of course the rhino looks super freaking real, but it was so off just having the rhino walk this street with all these other animals just behind it, kind of jumping, going forth, doing everything. And then you just have this rhino so casually walking and advancing towards the camera in the middle of a city. Just as if he's going to the supermarket to get some apples or something like that. Like, it's just My jaw dropped. It looked so good. The black levels looked amazing. Everything about it, yet again, and shout out to the sound designing in this. While again, it's not all flawless, this is so good for almost over 8 hours. Over 8 hours of content for $30. And again, we got to shout out the Sentimental episode 8 that is on the 3rd disc. It's Heroes, where David Attenborough does say farewell to the Planet Earth franchise and does declare that this is the last one of the trilogy. And it's so cool to see what people do on the day-to-day basis. Like, it goes into like following this one lady who's an undercover into stopping like illegal animal trade, to stopping from like people that take care and like rebirth extinct animals, and rebirth in the sense like maybe they find some eggs and like they repopulate through a zoo, and the people that take care of them and the sacrifices that they make. It's extremely interesting. All the risks, I guess if you want to call them, that they took in this particular set, it's just astounding. It's just glued to the screen. And I've been watching this for, I would say, like the last couple of days, and I was originally going to break it up and stuff. I'll get out the review whenever I'm going to get it out there. No, I have to talk about this. It looks so good. And of course, some people are going to ask, well, what was the megabytes per second reading? Well, I do have the 820, and I am blessed by having that playback info. Well, I even thought of this while I was watching it. Like, I couldn't find myself to constantly obstruct the art, the literal art on my screen, to constantly pull up that playback info button. But I did do it a few times, and sometimes, especially when I noticed a little bit of crush, or with the times that I noticed that, like, wow, this looks really good. I don't believe, again, I didn't have it on the entire almost over 8 hours of runtime on this guy, but the lowest I got was around 43 megabytes per second, and the highest I got at the times that I did pull it up was over 80 megabytes per second read speeds. So that's good. That's great. You know, we're not hitting 100 plus or anything, but this is demo reference quality material. This is a must-have as of right now. There's no waiting for a sale. There's no this. There's no that. This is worth the price right now. For $29.99, you can, or $35 depending on the retailer, you cannot beat this package. This is literally, dare I say, will I declare it the best disc on the entire platform right now? No, because let me answer that for you. There's differences in how we grade discs, at least how I like to look at it. I don't want to sit here and say this is better than Suspiria 1970s, right? That's one of my favorite discs on the entire format, top 3. And when people ask for recommendations or some older movies that have been restored immaculately, I usually say Lawrence of Arabia, Suspiria, and 2001: A Space Odyssey in no particular order, just whichever one I'm thinking of. Those are 3 of the best discs on the entire platform. But for me to take movies that are older like that were a labor of love, and that's to not take away anything to the labor of love that this is, I can't sit here and say that any of them are better than the other, right? They all fit in their own categories. They all had their own shot styles. They were all filmed on different types of cameras, and specifically film, right? The thing I will give this is that this is a modern movie shot digitally with so much love into it, and that's not, again, to take away, I'm not one of those people that says modern movies look bad on 4K. No, I definitely do believe that HDR does carry a lot of discs out there. I will say that. That's not to take away from the resolution. That's a very hit or miss type of situation where it's not always the case, but I do find on modern movies that HDR color grading tends to be the bigger increase in quality. And that is no exception, right? Like, everything about this, I cannot say enough. Well, can I declare this is the best release of the year? Absolutely. Absolutely. Maybe even over anything we got last year? Quite possibly. Quite possibly. I think this is the best disc that we've probably gotten in the last 2, maybe 3 years. Probably have to go back. Maybe somebody will bring something up in the comments. But again, I'm not trying to take away from anything. I think this sits atop in its own nice little cozy category as the best of its class. Whether you want to, however you want to categorize that, take that how you will. I don't want to specify any further. I hope that makes sense in the way that I'm going in that. And this is, I mean, what would you expect? It is a masterpiece. It's a 10 out of 10. It's a literal 10 out of 10. There's nothing else to really praise this about because it's so good. It's absolute eye candy. It's like eating your favorite food, but just watching it on the screen, just like so appealing. It makes you feel warm and fuzzy and good in the soul. It's just so great. Every single praise I can give this thing, it's heading its way. definitely pick up Planet Earth 3. I don't think that this is something that you need to wait for to go on sale. At best, you're going to save maybe 10, 15 bucks, which if that fits your budget, by all means, please do so. Spend your money how you find it feasible to spend it. But if you can and you're curious about this, I really hope the wallet bully is in full effect here in convincing you to buy this for your system. It is definitely worth every single cent. And this isn't going to be one of those ones, blind buy, right back on the shelf, right? No, this is going to be something that's sitting right here next to my player in my Jenga stack of movies, right next to my TV right here, where I'm just going to pop it in super randomly. Come home from work one day, deserts and grasslands, here we go. Let's get into the desert. So 10 out of 10. This is the best release out of the year. Again, I classified movies differently versus just saying that this is the king of 4Ks. Nature documentaries are known for looking good. Like, I believe right here I have this one called like IMAX Space Adventures that not a lot of people talk about that looks really, 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 really good. So this is sitting atop up there. Please let me know what your thoughts are. Maybe you thought this was awful. I hope not. I really hope our eyes aren't that different. But sound off in the comments below. And as always, guys, thank you so much for all of your love and support for the channel. Thank you so much for all of your feedback. Please comment down below. Let's engage. Let's talk about Planet Earth. Let's see. Maybe you're excited for Blue Planet 3, which I think they just dropped the second one, unless they maybe already dropped 3. Whatever you're excited for, let's start some dialogue down below. Please like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, we have some really exciting reviews headed your way, especially from my neck of the woods. Stay tuned, everybody, and stay safe. Flow like water.